Well, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you here for this week's devotional, and it was a pleasure to bring you the message for this past Sunday. I hope you're off to a great week, and in this season of Advent, I remind you that many times the world doesn't really know what to expect. We see Christmas trees, and we see Santa Claus, and we see jingle bells and all kinds of different things, but we often forget really what it is that we're expecting. And in my message this last week, introducing the Advent, the coming of a King, we as Christians celebrate something much greater than what the world sees. The King is coming. And we looked at Matthew 3:23, and we looked at how John the Baptist issued in this statement, "The voice of one crying in the wilderness, make ready the way of the Lord, make his paths straight." And we looked at this message and we said, here John the Baptist is ushering in a prophecy given by the prophet Isaiah. And so it's by his vision, the one that the Lord chose to describe and to prepare the world for the coming of the Messiah. It's by this view of Isaiah that I challenge everyone to really begin to see the Messiah. Not by the world standards, but by Scripture itself. So we looked at how Isaiah described the Messiah. We saw that Isaiah described him as God himself, Emmanuel, God with us. We saw that he would be a suffering servant, that he would come as a king, and not just a king, but the Prince of Peace. We also saw that he would be a king not just for Israel, but for all nations. And finally, we saw that this Messiah would usher in a new creation and a new Exodus. And it is here in Isaiah 40, verses 3 through 5, where John the Baptist borrowed, here where Matthew tells us, where he called of the voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare the way, make ready. The King is coming. In other words, brace yourself. And so as we look at this week and we look at the coming weeks as we prepare for the coming of the King, we see that it's not so much the Christmas time and the festivities so much as the birth of the Messiah, God himself, who would join us in this world. And as you prepare to look at how this matters and affects you, remember, John was a herald, and we are now the heralds to usher in the coming of the King. Let's do our job as heralds. Let's make ready the way for the King, to tell others of really the true reason for the season. May you be blessed by this message, and I look forward to seeing you soon. God bless.